Vox Alliance Church in person. Those of you who are joining us online, it's a good thing you joined us online today because there are like no seats available here at the loft. Oh, yeah, probably a couple of you could have maybe joined us, but that's okay. It's nice to be back here again. Hopefully everyone is well. I'm trying to remember how fast we're going to do this song. Oh, here we go. Does that sound good? That's good. I was walking the wayside, lost on a lonely road. I was chasing the high life, trying to satisfy my soul. All the lies I believed in left me crying like the rain. Then I saw lightning from heaven, and I never failed to say, nah, nah. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love. I found a world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love. Hey! I felt the sting of the fire, but I saw you in the flames, yeah. That's when I thought it was over. You brought me out of the grave. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love, yeah. I found a world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love, yeah. Oh, I am a child of love, yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. Nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. Nothing can separate. 'Cause nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. Nothing can separate. Hey! Nothing can change the way you love me. Nothing can change the way I belong to you. Yes, I do. Nothing can separate. I'm gonna climb a mountain. I'm a child of love. I found a world of freedom. I'm a child of love, yeah. I'm gonna climb a mountain, I'm gonna shout about it. I am a child of love, yeah. I found a world of freedom, I found a friend in Jesus. I am a child of love, yeah. Oh, I am a child of love, yeah. Oh, I am a child of love. I'm gonna like wipe out. rest in your arms tonight. Your love is deep, your love is wide. I will rest tonight. Oh, all I see is your beauty chasing me. Oh, the love that sets me free, I'm found in you. Love is deep, your love is wide. I will rest in your arms tonight. Your love is deep, your love is wide. I will rest tonight. Oh, tonight. Oh, your love is deep, your love is wide. I will rest in your arms tonight. Your love is deep, your love is wide. I will rest tonight. Oh, tonight. Oh, lay your peace like a blanket over me, and as I lay down to sleep, I will rest in you. I like that one. I got a good joke today. It's a very good one. Is everybody ready? Hold on. A guy walks into a bar, and he was disqualified from the limbo contest. I actually like that one. Feel free. Everyone's going to yell at me now and tell me it was terrible, but I enjoy those kinds. What birthdays do we have today? It's Tandy's birthday was this week. What other birthdays do we have? Birthdays. Oh, no other birthdays. Well, there's going to be the second that we sing happy birthday to Tandy. Well, let's sing happy birthday to Tandy. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tandy. Happy birthday to you. Somebody cha-cha-cha'd, I think. I was pretty sure I heard cha-cha-cha. Tandy's first birthday as a Canadian citizen. That's very exciting. Oh, that's exciting times. That is our announcements for this week. I'm sure Heather's going to let our young people know. We're going to try to arrange some sort of outdoor things that are legal in the current lockdown situation. Not entirely sure what that's going to be or how it's going to look, but we're going to do our best to figure that out and send out an email, so that'll be awesome times. We're going to take a break to chat with the tons of people who are here, and then those of you who were not able to be with us, you just miss out on this incredible opportunity, but we would love to see you again shortly when we come back in about 10 minutes.
you for joining us back again. I left my guitar under the stage here for 2 weeks, and it is not happy about that decision. So this morning, I don't know if you noticed yesterday, I was late this week getting it out. But we do have a Spotify playlist and a Apple Music playlist that I try to keep up to date with songs for the weekend, so that if we're going to do something new, you get a chance to sort of learn it. And I was kind of wrestling with, I was choosing songs after being in lockdown with COVID for a weekend. And so there's probably a reason that songs with the line, "Hold on a little more, this is not the end," show up when that's going on. Oh, man. But yeah, so we're going to do a couple new songs, and they're pretty easy to sort of pick up, and so hopefully you can join us. Blessed are the ones who do not bury all the broken pieces of their heart. Blessed are the tears of all the weary, pouring like a sky of falling stars. Let's try that again. Blessed are the ones who do not bury all the broken pieces of their heart. Blessed are the tears of all the weary, pouring like a sky of falling stars. Blessed are the wounded ones in mourning, brave enough to show the Lord their scars. Blessed are the hurts that are not hidden, open to the healing touch of God. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. Blessed are the ones who walk in kindness, even in the face of great abuse. Blessed are the deeds that go unnoticed, serving with unguarded gratitude. Blessed are the ones who fight for justice, longing for the coming day of peace. Blessed is the soul that thirsts for righteousness, welcoming the last, the lost, the least. The kingdom is yours. The
Blessed are the ones who suffer violence, but still have strength to love their enemies. Blessed is the faith of those who persevere, though they fall and never know defeat. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. The kingdom is yours. The kingdom is yours. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him. Hold on a little more. This is not the end. Hope is in the Lord. Keep your eyes on Him.
I came across that one. I was a bit surprised. There's not a lot of songs that deal with the Beatitudes, which is an intriguing thing to me. I think it's because the Beatitudes is one of those things that we just don't really like Jesus, because he doesn't play well with others in some ways. Like he's not doing something that fits neatly and tidily into how we like to think about life. And so when I came across it, I thought, man, that's such a kind of powerful song that way. And then this next song, one of the things that we've been trying so hard at Vox to do is to focus on Jesus, to get back to this reality that we gather around Jesus, we come together and are held together because of our belief that Jesus makes sense, and to not gather together based on a whole bunch of weird boundaries that we've set and weird esoteric sort of little arguments that we're going to have about these sort of points of doctrine. And so I'm always on the lookout for songs that just sort of really bring it back to this reality that Christ kind of makes sense, that Jesus makes sense, and is one of the few things I think that we can really hold to, maybe even more so these days. And so this one's a little country. So some of you are going to be like, oh, this song is just fabulous. Some of you not as much, but lyrically I very much kind of enjoy it. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. He never let me down, faithful through generations. So why would He fail now? He won't. He won't. Still got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense, so I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I built my life on Jesus.
so I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I built my life on Jesus. He's never let me down. I've gone through every season, so why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. Rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you. I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you. And I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Oh, rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you. I'm safe with you, but I'm gonna make it through. Oh, rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you. I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. I'm gonna make it through. 'Cause I'm standing strong on you. 'Cause I'm gonna make it through. 'Cause I'm else is built on you. 'Cause Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. 'Cause I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. 'Cause he's never let me down, faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. No, he won't. Oh, yeah. It's a little less country when we do it. Because, you know, that's just going to happen. Roy is going to come and share with us this morning. We're back into the John. We're not into the John.
That's different. We're back into the Gospel of John. Some of you maybe are in the John, I don't know, at home. Maybe that's where you're watching from this morning. Good acoustics if you're singing, I think. But we're back in the Gospel of John.
Where, like, you could actually attend church while sitting on the toilet. Just, don't go live. Don't go live. Oh boy. Oh, so this morning, like we said, we're back in John, and I like those times where I get to preach and I get to share like a story, something crazy that happened in my life. I like. Somebody once told me the best way to share Jesus is through testimony, and this morning I'm going to tell a little story about my wife and I. She's going to love this. I may sleep on the couch tonight, just so that you are all aware. There is a very real possibility. I have approved this message with her already, though I have changed things since then. So we'll see. If you guys have been around Vox for a while, or you have me as a friend on Facebook, you know that one of the things that Hope and I do is we play this game where she's being mean to me. But whatever, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's just every now and then she's mean to me. For the most part, it's just me being funny and in jest, and it's fun to watch the comments and stuff like that. But, you know, every now and then, there are moments where she actually is upset, and legitimately so, and it is what it is, but, you know, that's part of being married, right? So, have you ever made a mistake that you didn't know was a mistake? Like, have you ever, I know some of you, I know you've all done it. You've all had that moment where, like, you did something, and you found out a week later that you're in trouble, right? Like once I bought a guitar. but listen, we had a conversation. We had a whole conversation. I even showed her pictures of it, and I was like, I want to buy this guitar, right? She says that I'm supposed to blame it on Nathan. I totally 100% blame my wife. Because we sat down, I showed her pictures, we had a conversation. It's not my fault that we had a couple drinks when I did that, and I totally misunderstood. Do whatever you want to do. I totally misunderstood it, and, well, to be honest with you, I did whatever I wanted to do. And when it arrived, she's like, "What's that?" "It's a gift I bought for you. It just looks like a guitar. It's not really a guitar." But what about when you're getting, like, some of us are getting older, like I just turned 40 in October, and, like, have you ever done something like, I didn't know it was going to be bad until the following day? A couple years back, I went for like a 6-kilometer run with Patrick Vu, right? And I was like, yeah, I used to love running. Let's go run up and down Essa Road and around the block and up and this way and that way in bad shoes or brand new shoes and in the snow. And I felt wonderful until Monday morning. And I woke up Monday morning and I was like, why am I in so much pain? I was in pain for 4 days. I made a bad decision. Or what about, like, have you ever gone to bed and woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning screaming in pain because you rolled over wrong? Like, I did that last week, and I texted Nathan, and I'm like, I don't know what just happened, man. Can you pray for me because this is bad? I pulled my neck out rolling over. Hope's like, what are you doing up? Why are you stretching? Why are you doing yoga at 3:30 in the morning? In the bedroom. Right? I put pants on. Like, let's be honest, it wasn't that bad, right? And I'm doing the whole bending over, I'm trying to stretch my back out so that I can attempt to go back to sleep before I go to work. It didn't work. I suffered I'm actually feeling pretty decent this morning for the first time in a week because I rolled over wrong. What about, have you ever accidentally offended anybody and didn't realize it? And then you're like, why after 4 months are you being funny with me? I feel like this conversation is a lot more aggressive than it should be. Well, do you remember that time that you said this? I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday. No, I don't remember that time I said that. You've all done that too. You all have. You all have. I have. So here's the mistake that I made that I didn't know that I made. And this is a mistake that's kind of like, how do we put it? It's negatively, positively, I don't know, it's progressed over the last probably year and a half, 2 years, okay? So my wife thinks that I broke the cats. Not like I actually like hurt them or anything like that, or overfed them or anything. Like she actually thinks that I made them not like her anymore. But you got to understand, okay? Like legitimately, Hope loves cats. My wife has pants that have cats on them. Okay? She loves cats. And I actually don't really like cats all that much. I think they're kind of pushy. They're sharp, right? Cats are sharp, right? I find them unpredictable. And if I'm being honest, like we have 4 cats. Cats are pissy. Like cats have attitude, just random attitude. Like you could be I'm feeding you food. Here, look at your food. And they're like, ah! And they attack you. Cats are like that. But I can understand why cats are a little bit pissy, right? Like, okay, so you have this creature that God has created that is like the perfect killing machine, right? Like, did you know that cats can run 48 miles an hour? 48 kilometers an hour? That's fast. And there's actually a cat in the U.S. called Waffles the Warrior Cat. And Waffles the Warrior Cat has the world record for jumping the longest, 7 feet. Horizontally, right? I came home one day and we have this cat called the Wonkness, and he's a bit of an asshole. And I come in and I'm like, I'm hearing this purring noise, and I'm like, what is the noise? I'm looking around the house, and we have kitchen cupboards with like a really high cupboard. I don't know why we have that. We're all under 5'5", but we have these really tall cupboards. And I'm standing there, and he's on the top of the cupboard. He's this big. And he's up on, how did you get up there? Now, he couldn't get down, right? He was doing one of these kind of things on his tippy toes trying to figure out how to get down. So I had to go and get him, right? But apparently I'm a jerk because I went and picked him up to try and get him down, and he scratched me. And I have like life-changing scars because of it. But like, so cats are like the perfect killing machine, right? But then God made them small so that like jerk humans can just come over and pick them up, and they can be all like, right? While you pick them up and try and carry them around. It's no wonder they're pissy. So some of you might know my cat Rufus. That's Rufus. So Rufus is an interesting, all of our cats are rescue cats. No, go back one. Yeah, there we go. So all of our cats are rescue cats. This cat was hit by a car and was hiding in a realtor's office in Wasaga Beach. And Hope was just like, there's a cat in distress, I must go save it. Yeah, it was actually on free cycle in a cardboard box. Come pick this cat up. So Hope did. She went and she picked the cat up. Now, in Rufus's defense, Rufus had a name that was Willow, and Rufus didn't like the name, and so I renamed Willow to Rufus, and Rufus was injured. Rufus had a broken foot, and she had a couple big cuts on her and stuff like that. So when we brought her home, she wasn't doing very good. She wasn't happy, but you couldn't get near her. She didn't want to be picked up. She didn't want to be touched. And the only time that you heard her or saw her was at 3 o'clock in the morning where you heard around the house. And she'd just walk around the house meowing, and I'd be like, would you stop? I'm trying to sleep. But it took a couple years, and eventually I, with some wooing and, being nice and actually basically just picking up and mugging her until she got comfortable, finally Rufus became my cat. And like I said, I don't really like cats, so Rufus is now my dog cat. And if you have a problem with it, I will fight you. Right? But then, okay, so then in 2017, I was away at Pathways for like a seminary school for a week for a modular course. And Hope texts me and she says, I have a surprise. And she picked up these other 2 cats and rescued them. They were very, very young. Can you go to the next slide? So that's Smudge. When we got them, I have a picture of the 2 of them hiding behind our toilet in the bathroom downstairs, and they were like this big, right? Very, very young. Maybe 5 weeks old. And Smudge has always been like, here I am, and just kind of climb up and sit on your lap and stuff like that. And so he kind of like comes and snuggles me. And then we have this other cat who's tan and orange, and her name's Muffin. Can you pull up the next slide? That's my Muffin cat. Muffin doesn't like people. Muffin will hide and run away and not be around. And if you come to my house, you're like, where'd that cat come from? And it's just an orange blur. Well, before she was really fat. So Hope is upset with me because after about a year since we've been in lockdown, I've done the come here, and try and come and sit with me, right? And coax her and, do a little pet from a distance and, let her come over and just kind of do headbutt. Cats do that, right? Have you seen the headbutt that cats do? Did you know that the headbutt is like declaration that you're now theirs? They now own you because they've headbutted you. Right? I didn't know that. Hope told me that because Hope loves cats. I don't love cats. Dogs are just like, I'm sitting here. Right? And cats, they want to own you first. So the Muffin one would come over and she would headbutt me, and eventually she'd just get comfortable to the point where she comes and sits on my lap. Well, that made Hope really mad and upset with me because she's like, you've stolen all of my cats. What is wrong with you? We're getting divorced. We can't be married anymore. Right? But Muffin's cute. Have you ever seen cats do like the zoomies? Hope calls it the zoomies. Have you ever seen the zoomies with cats? Where they bolt around the house and they just randomly running up walls and whatever, right? She does the zoomies, but she's kind of fat like a panda on YouTube. So her zoomies are like, I'm bolting for 12 inches, and then roll around for a few seconds, and then lay on my back panting, right? Because that's the extent of her zoomies, because she's not. And she's really fluffy, and she doesn't really know how to be a cat, so when she runs around, it's like, what's that guy off of the Peanuts cartoons with all the dust and hair and everything that follows him around? You know who I'm talking about? Yeah, that cat does that. It's funny. Sorry? Linus. Yeah, Linus. That's his name, right? So, I think this is like I said, this is one of the reasons why Hope is a little bit upset with me, and she's being mean. Again. But there are several things I think that are actually truly happening here. All right? One of them is, for me, I think like because I have this, what's the word? I have this weird relationship with cats. Like I said, I don't really like cats, so it's kind of like a project for me to make the cats not be cats. Okay? And like if I'm being honest, I think the only real reason why the cats want to love me and come and snuggle me is because I'm a snuggly person. Like, if you lived in my house, you'd want to snuggle me too. Most people would, right? And I think the cats do it because I'm warm. That's it. And I'm safe, right? Like, I kind of embody and attempt to embody Gimli from The Lord of the Rings, right? So I kind of have a fairly large and a menacing presence around my house, and I'm not like the most agile person, so when I walk, it's around the house like that, right? So like I'm fairly scary as it is. So the only reason these cats could possibly love me is if I'm safe and warm, right? So it's taken this period of time for them, one, to realize that I am not going to eat them, right? For them to trust me and be comfortable with me, and two, to realize that my lap is warm and it's a good place to sit. But, it's all my fault. It's all my fault that the cats don't want to sit with Hope anymore, It's not my fault. Come on now. But today's passage is one of those kind of things where, like, it gets taken out of context. We don't always necessarily know all the underlying factors of what's going on here, but it seems like it's far more complicated than it should be or would normally be. And it's kind of like cats. Cats are far more complicated than they should be. Right? So today's passage is John 5, 1 through 18. And it says, this is a healing on the Sabbath passage. If you've been around church for a while, you know this passage. After this, there was a Jewish festival, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, near the sheep gate, in the north city wall, is a pool with the Aramaic name Bethsaida. It had 5 covered porches, and a crowd of people who were sick, blind, lame, and paralyzed sat there. And a certain man was there who had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there, knowing that he had already been there a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" And the sick man answered him, "Sir, I don't have anyone who can put me in the water when it is stirred up. When I'm trying to get to it, someone else has gotten in ahead of me." Now, obviously there's some interesting stuff going on here, but Bethsaida is actually like a real place. Okay, and archaeologists have actually excavated this area, and there's a lot of evidence that, like, not only would Jewish people would come to this, but pagan people would come to this area as well for this healing. And the way it works is, like, every now and then, periodically throughout the year, something would bubble up from inside this pool, and the first person to enter this pool would be miraculously healed. Okay, but this guy has been sitting here on his mat for a really long time, according to this, but he's been sick for 30 years, and he's been waiting for somebody to come by and pick him up and carry him in to be healed, which complicates things in a couple ways, right? So if the first person in when it bubbles up gets healed, and somebody has to pick him up to bring him into the water, which one gets healed first? Right? And then, because this is complicated and this guy's been sitting here on his mat for a while and people have been walking past him, like, obviously for a long time, because it's a bit of a thing, then Jesus walks in, enters stage left, and screws everything up, right? Because the only people that can be healed are the people that enter this pool when the water's bubbling up. And Jesus is just like, "Do you want to be healed?" And Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat, and walk." And immediately the man was well, and he picked up his mat, and he walked. And that day was the Sabbath day. And then the Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, "It's the Sabbath. You aren't allowed to carry your mat." And he answered, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" And they inquired, "Who is this man who said to you, 'Pick it up and walk'?" The man who had been cured didn't know who it was, because Jesus had slipped away from the crowd that were gathered there. First interesting thing, the man doesn't know who Jesus is. And then Jesus just walks up and he tells this guy, "Pick up your mat and walk." And dude does. Okay? If you'd been sick for 30 years, sitting in front of this pool, waiting for somebody to help you into the pool, because this pool is going to give you the salvation from your sickness, right? Would you just listen to some dude that walks up with long hair and his robes, goes, "Pick up your mat and walk"? You want to be healed? Come on. Right. Would you have? I wouldn't have. I probably would have responded with a derogatory term. Because I've been sick and ill and in pain and stuff, and, you know, paralyzed and not able to move and carry my own butt into the pool. But dude's just like, "Pick up your mat and walk." You want to be well? Pick up your mat and walk. And then, like, I find it interesting. The guy picks up his mat and he starts walking, and the Jewish leaders are like, "Why did you pick up your mat? It's the Sabbath." He was just healed. They knew who he was. Right? Like, it's not like it's just like, "Oh, I didn't see that guy sitting there trying to get into this pool for the last 30 years or whatever he's been sitting there waiting to be healed." And then, then the Jewish leaders, they kind of want to know, like, who's the guy that told you to break the rules? Again, forget about the fact that he was just healed. Somebody told you to break the rules. Why? Because he healed me. And I got up and I walked for the first time in 30 years. Yeah, but he made you carry your mat on the Sabbath day. The dude was just healed in front of a crowd of people, and the only thing they care about is the fact that he's breaking the rules. Like, it's like if something in this room happened that was a crazy miracle. Something just over the top, crazy miracle happens in front of everybody, and I'm standing up here, and it happens out here in front of the hundreds of people that are sitting here watching me preach this morning, right? And something crazy happens, and I'm like, would you shut up, please? I'm preaching. I have something important to say. I don't care if you were just healed miraculously after 30 years. Right? That's stupid. But that's what happens. Or like, what about if we did something really stupid in church, right? Like, I'm not going to come to this church anymore because I don't like the coffee. I would prefer more coffee selection, please. And if you're not going to give me more coffee selection, I'm going to find another church. We don't do that. What about this one? I'm unhappy with the program selections at your church. I need to find a larger church. Or a more robust church. Or the music selection isn't to my tastes. I know that you guys do wonderful things in the community and stuff, but it's just you're not providing me with the things that I need. I can't be here anymore. And later, Jesus found him in the temple and said, "See, you have been made well. Don't sin anymore in case something worse happens to you." The man went and proclaimed to the Jewish leaders that Jesus was the man who had made him well. Now the guy figures out who Jesus is, and he now points him out to the Jewish leaders. This is the perfect example of kind of what I'm saying, right? This is one of those passages where people love to beat other people over the head with, right? The reason why you're sick is because you're sinning. If you weren't a sinner, you wouldn't be sick. Or maybe, Jesus is punishing you for your sins. This is not what the passage is about. But we hear it all the time. And I didn't grow up in church, and I've heard it. And here's the kicker. I'm not going to even talk about it today at all. This is it. We're moving on. We're going to cover this whole thing later on as we move through John, because there's actually passages that are about this. This is not one of them. As a result, the Jewish leaders were harassing Jesus since he had done these things on the Sabbath. Jesus replied, "My Father is still working, and I am working too." For this reason, the Jewish leaders wanted even more to kill him, not only because he was doing away with the Sabbath, but also because he called God his own Father, thereby making himself equal with God. So the Jewish leadership at this point, and prior to this, is chasing Jesus around, harassing him because he's breaking the rules. Rules that they invented themselves to measure who was more godly, who was more devout in the word, right? We don't do that. We don't do that. Like, I'm more Jesus-y because I don't swear or cuss a little. Or I'm more Jesus-y because I don't listen to any secular music. I only listen to Jesus music. You've heard those ones, right? What about I have more Jesus points than you? Have you heard? It's Jesus points are one of those things that I talk about here, right? I have more Jesus points because, let's see here. I have a beard. It says in Leviticus that you're not supposed to cut your sideburns, right? So I have a beard. I have more Jesus points than you do. I think the only person I don't have more Jesus points on the beard part is Nathan right now at this point. He's winning in the beard department. So he has more Jesus points than me, but I have more Jesus points than you. What about, I have another one written down. Oh, that's a good one. I have more Jesus points because I don't have any tattoos, right? Oh, I'm not allowed to have tattoos. Or mixed fabrics, right? Or drinking, right? Like, you wouldn't ignore everything I just said because I drink. Oh my goodness, did you see what he did on stage? Forget about everything that we're just talking about and teaching and learning, right? I only had one left, sorry. If you want to bring a cup down, I'm more than willing to share. They're mad because Jesus is screwing up the institutions the Jewish leaders have put in place. An institution of legalism that literally pushed people into the margins of society. You are not worthy. Their actions actively created barriers for people to meet God and to be in relationship and companionship with God. I'm so grateful that we don't do that today. Like, could you imagine today if our Western churches invented ways to make barriers for people to meet Jesus? Could you imagine if we did that? That would be horrible. It'd be totally against everything that Jesus said. I'm so glad we don't do that. Could you imagine if we excluded our siblings, our LGBTQ siblings? Could you imagine if we did that? Or what about if we made it uncomfortable for people who are experiencing homelessness? It made it difficult for them to come and meet Jesus just because, they're experiencing homelessness, they're homeless. Or my favorite one is could you imagine if we kicked or made it uncomfortable for young parents with their children when they come in and be rowdy in church? Could you imagine if we did that? That would be horrible. We'd never do that. We only get upset about things that are really important, like the color of the new drapes that we're going to buy, or whether we're going to have carpet in the sanctuary. We don't have carpet in here. But could you imagine? Or what color we're going to paint the walls in the sanctuary? Could you imagine? That's the stuff that we get upset about, that stuff, because that stuff's important. Because those are things, like the color of the walls is really important for people when they want to meet Jesus, right? Jesus would care what color the walls were. We just get upset about important things like that. N.T. Wright says this about today's passage. He says, here we meet the sharpest opposition so far as the signs build up so the reaction to them becomes fiercer. People begin to realize just what it will cost to follow where these signs are pointing. Jesus is bringing in a new way of doing things at this moment. That's one of the best favorite parts about the Gospels is we have this whole thing, we can see that things are changing. And Jesus, every single time he speaks, every parable that he talks, every interaction, every person that he heals, there's something new. He's changing something because we are doing it wrong. And it's just as important today as it was back then. He tells this great story in this commentary that I used for today's message. There were two small boys playing in an overgrown garden, and the old man that lived in the big house where the garden was had been ill for many weeks. And though nurses and doctors came and went to the house, nobody seemed to bother about what happened in the garden. So these two boys, these two brothers, had quietly taken the garden over. But these two boys, they didn't know what to do with the tennis court. There's a tennis court. They'd never seen anybody play tennis before. But the markings on the ground, on the tennis court, suggested that there was some kind of game. The net hung slack in the middle of the court, and since the only ball they had was a football, they had invented a game of kicking the ball over the net to each other and trying to land it within the lines on the other side. And this game more or less worked, but it was not the most exciting ball game ever. And one day, the old man's son came from abroad to visit his father. And looking from the upstairs window down the long garden, he saw the boys playing their made-up game. And he smiled. Going to a cupboard, he collected an armful of tennis equipment. And the boys were alarmed when they saw him coming down the garden, but he wasn't angry. And he says to the boys, "Wouldn't you like to play the real thing?" Wouldn't you like to know the real game? Wouldn't you like to play the real thing? Tennis, of course. Here, I'll show you. And within minutes, he had swept leaves off the court and tightened the net and equipped the boys with rackets and begun to teach them the difficult but far more rewarding game that the court was built for. Isn't it nice to know that you can play the right game? See, we're called to be the body of Christ, the bride of Christ. And just those words, body of Christ and bride of Christ, they elicit this idea of an intimate relationship that we're supposed to have. And we're fortunate that this relationship isn't transactional. Like the little boys, the son that come down to show them tennis, the man was not looking for anything. He just wanted to show the boys how to play the game. I think too often we are just simply consumers of Christ. And it's a hard thing to swallow because I have been as well. And it's easy to get sucked into this consumerism idea of what Christianity is because we live in a consumerist world, a capitalist world, a world where we need to obtain things and consume things. And I'm glad that there's an opportunity for us to not be like that, because otherwise we just end up being like the little kids in the court not knowing how to play the game, right? Not only did they not know how to play the game, they didn't even have the right tools, the right equipment to play the game. They didn't even know what the game was called, right? And in walks this old man's son with the right equipment, with the rules that he has, with his way of doing things. And he even knows what the name is. Isn't it wonderful to have the opportunity to be part of a community that allows us to do that? Be in relationship with somebody who allows us to do that, to figure out how to do it right? So I'll get Jen and Nathan to come back up. I'm going to take my beer with me, and I'm going to pray for everybody as I do it. Lord, thank you that we have the opportunity to learn how to live life the way that you intended it to be. Thank you for the guidelines and the outlines on how things are supposed to be. Thank you for the ability to be able to either hear your message and your words, read them, or experience them in life through the Holy Spirit. And may we all be able to do that on a daily basis. In Jesus' name, amen.
We're going to do a little retro. It's been a long time since I sung this song at church. And if you start singing in a bit of an Irish accent, or if I start singing in an Irish accent, I apologize. purely by accident. But as Roy and I were talking this week about what he was going to be speaking about, this idea of continuing to strip things back to Jesus just seems so important and so powerful. And I think, for a lot of people, they talk about, there's a lot of people struggling with faith and going through a process that we sort of tend to refer to as deconstruction. And there's a point at which sort of rebuilding, reconstruction, reformation needs to take place. And I think the key is to do it around the person of Jesus. That's where that rebuilding needs to take place around. And so this song just sort of popped into my head, and I started singing it one day, and sort of thought it would be a good way to kind of end things off this morning. Jesus, oh, for Jesus, all I am and ever hope to be. Jesus. Hopes and plans, I surrender these into your hands. All of my ambitions, hopes and plans, I surrender these into your hands. For it's only in your will that I am free. For it's only in your will that I am free. Jesus, oh, for Jesus, all I am and ever hope to be. Jesus, oh, for Jesus, all I am and ever hope to be. For it's only in your will that I am free. For it's only in your will that I am free. Thank you for
never hope to be. Jesus, oh, for Jesus, all I am and have, ever hope to be. Eternal God, born into one place and time for the sake of every place and time. Wherever we live, you are already there, waiting to be discovered in the adventure of reality. Give us discernment to follow your tracks through the cutting edge of culture and the voices of our time. Make us bold to step outside of our old religious comforts, to live and build your kingdom with the stuff that's all around us. God bless. Thanks for coming this morning and joining us in person and online. We're glad that you could be here and grateful to be able to spend this time with you. We will see you next Sunday morning. Same bad time, same bad channel.